So, Rob, tell me about Lone Wolf Comics' next big step. What comes up next for you?
So right now we're working on Snowpaw issue 2. It's a spin-off series of my original Nightwolf, and it's about the Nightwolf's mentor and her origin story in the 19th century Scotland. So basically, a fierce heroine is with an adventurous spirit, nearly gives into the social expectations of her time, but a trite fairy tale ending is not meant to be, as Cyrilla McKinley discovers her werewolf lineage. Her eyes are open the first time to the existence of supernatural beings and creatures of fantasy. And so, again, this is the second issue that we are now working on. Mog Park, Game of Thrones artist, is the illustrator for the book, as well as Bruna Costa, who is a Brazilian colorist. So they both do an amazing job on the art. Dave Lentz is the letterer for the book, and he does an amazing job. He's done some other things like Good Boy and a few other Source Point books and some other great indies. So with the four of us, we're putting together another amazing issue so far. The pages that are coming out from Mog and Bruna are just top notch, and I'm very excited to see this issue because like the action picks up right where we left off, in issue 1, and just it got a lot of great art and great action, and I'm really getting into the meat of the story. And then we're going to make a little bit of a transition from Scotland, move into England during the 19th century as well. So we'll get to see a little bit of that industrial age in England play out, and just a lot of great historical fantasy takes place in there as well. So a lot of hidden fantasy creatures to kind of find throughout the pages. So it's kind of like a nice little Where's Waldo of fantasy creatures.
And the thing I love about your site is that you actually have all these character like informational blogs. That's a very clever thing. Can you tell me how much tie-in these two different things have with each other?
What's that?
The different properties. What kind of crossover do we see with this?
Oh, right on. Yeah. So with Nightwolf and Snowpaw takes 200 years prior to Nightwolf. So again, 19th century, whereas Nightwolf takes place in the modern times. And so there's not really a lot of crossover as far as like story until like point A meets like let's say point M. So like Nightwolf will be point M, Snowpaw would be point A. So that's when they come together, and then they'll continue on. But as far as like lore, all of the mythology, the world, it's a shared universe. It's just 200 years in the past. So they are related in that aspect. But this is a completely different story, featuring Snowpaw and these other characters who haven't really gotten to shine outside of her series. There's mention of Silvermane and Grimfang in Nightwolf, just basically Snowpaw telling Nightwolf of her story, but this is taking those conversations to a whole nother level and opening them up into a grand story.
Now, I like the fact that the Lone Wolf Comics feels like it's for your fan base, and you have such a great connection with your fan base. What do you always say on your Kickstarters? Join
The Wolf Pack.
There you go. Can you tell about that connection with your fan base? Because I always see people talking about it. You have a great fan base that loves to share what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't just see my audience as just, people who are buying my books. Like I want to be able to interact with them. I want to have conversations. I'll talk to them through Facebook Messenger. I'll talk to them just comments, emails. Anytime I send out a newsletter, I encourage them to reply back to me because I want to be able to talk to them. I want them to feel like they're part of my pack. Like my family, and I want to be able. I'm here for them to entertain, and to share my stories. Kind of like the storyteller sitting around a fire, talking, passing along the tales of their past, if you will. So I try to get connected with my wolf pack. Whether it's at cons, I love to meet people in person. Through Kickstarters, I'm constantly like asking them, how they feel about things, or I'm doing surveys asking that, I want their opinions. I want them to feel connected to the books, that it's not just, just something that they're a one-off that they're buying. I want them to actually be able to enjoy, interact, and feel a part of it. So that in a nutshell is my wolf pack. Again, I love being able to meet them and talk to them, and getting to know them better, as the days go on and the stories come out.
What are the future plans for you overall? What can you tease us that's coming through the pipeline beyond Snowfall?
So I have an entire universe with those other characters that you see there. It's kind of like a Marvel universe or DC universe, how it's shared amongst different characters. These other titles that I'm working on in the mix, it's kind of one of the, as soon as I can get Nightwolf and Snowpaw to basically be able to stand on their own 2 feet, I'll be able to jump then into these other characters. They end up having a world-ending event, and they come together forcefully, not because they like each other. But yeah, I wouldn't say they would become a team, if you will, but they do have to work together and to basically save the world from this world-ending event. But again, they'll all have their own standalone issues, where they'll be able to talk about their origin stories, or just get kind of thrown into the middle of it, and we'll discover how their origin is.
And Lone Wolf Comics is the place where they can get the past issues and all that. But how could they pre-subscribe to something like on Kickstarter? Is there a pre-launch campaign that they can go to right now?
Not currently, but they can sign up. So if they go to Lone Wolf Comics /offer, they can sign up for a free issue of Nightwolf #1 and join the mailing list. So basically, they'll be able to find out when that mailing list or the pre-launch page is live. So I'm actually in the middle of working on the issue 2 page. So I'm hoping